If you're still struggling with trading, you need to hear this. Okay, these are going to be the top 10 trading mindset hacks or trading truths that I wish I figured out earlier, but it basically took me more than 10 years to figure this out, and I want to share it with you because this is the thing that is going to help you get through your struggles, to overcome your trading struggles. Okay, so these mindset hacks or these trading mindset tips are really going to get you to cross the line and save you a lot of time. So make sure you watch this to the end. Okay, so the first one is that you have to learn to detach from your P&L. Stop obsessing over the numbers. Stop obsessing over the money. Let go of the money, because the money, your P&L, is controlling you. It's creating fear and greed within your thinking, within your mindset. And if that is the case, then you're not going to be able to make good, rational decisions. You're always going to make everything based on your P&L. So if you go into a drawdown, you're going to be fearful, and then when you're fearful, you're not going to be able to execute. You're not going to take the right trades correctly. Okay, so you have to just let go of that and detach. And it's really hard. I know it's hard to do because basically when you trade, you're trading money. Okay, so there's money on the line, and naturally you want to be looking at the money. You want to see how much you've made or how much you've lost. So you have to let go of this. And detachment is like a muscle, a brain muscle. Okay, you have to train it over time, and then over time you get better and better, and you become numb to the money, to the P&L, and then you fall in love with the process. So do that. Okay, now number 2 is mindset, psychology, and then strategy last. So mindset is more important than psychology. Psychology is more important than your strategy. Okay, and like psychology is the way your brain works. Okay, so like how you handle and think about fear, greed, and FOMO, and revenge trading, and all of this sort of stuff. Okay, but your mindset is your attitude. Okay, so you need to develop the right attitude. Okay, attitude is everything. And when I'm talking about attitude, I'm talking about like having a winner's attitude, a winner's mindset. Does that make sense? So you're gonna have to know that you're gonna have to give things up. You're gonna have to not follow the crowd. Your whole way of life, your thinking, your attitude towards life, to winning, to losing, is gonna have to change. You cannot bring the mindset from the matrix into a trading environment and expect to win long term. Okay, you have to develop this. Okay, and this is what all of my students say as well. They absolutely agree with this, that it's mindset, psychology, and then strategy. The strategy is the easiest part. The strategy is only 10%. Okay, mindset and psychology is 90% of the entire equation. So you have to work on this. Okay, I spent 10 years chasing strategy and getting nowhere, and then the moment I realized it was mindset and psychology, that's when everything changed, and that's when I started to level up and started to win. Okay, so work on that. Number three is you gotta kill your ego. Ego is your enemy. The ego that you have inside of you, that we all have egos, okay? But there's no room for ego in trading. You're gonna have to get rid of it, okay? This is holding you back. And it works like this, right? So the ego always needs to be right. It always wants to be correct. Okay, so when you take a loss, you feel like you need to fix it. So then that's why you overtrade, because your ego is trying to prove something else. Okay, it doesn't like being wrong. And also your ego is the thing that keeps you strategy hopping. As soon as you try a strategy and it doesn't work, or it takes a loss, right, which should be normal, right? There's no such thing as 100% win rate. But then your strategy takes a loss, and then your ego says, it's not me, it's the strategy. The strategy doesn't work. and then you change strategies, right? Then you go and look for a new strategy, a new week, and then you start this evil cycle again, and then you spiral you get stuck in this ego cycle where you never really master yourself and you never really master anything. You're just trying to fix something because of your ego, and you're not aware of it. Like I was, I had no idea about ego. I had such a huge ego coming from, my other background in my other work that I was doing prior to this, where ego was everything, and it didn't matter if you have a big ego. But in trading, it absolutely will destroy you. So you got to humble yourself, okay? And understand this, okay? That you're making decisions based on your ego, and that's not the way to go, okay? Number 4 is that don't risk more than you can afford to lose. So if you cannot sleep at night, if you can't hold a position overnight and get a good night's sleep, that just means that you have too much risk on the line. Okay, so a good number is 1%, maximum is 2%. Okay, but if you're going to risk 2%, you really need to be very good. You have to know exactly what you're doing, okay? But a good comfortable number is 1%, okay? Because if you lose 1%, it's not going to be difficult to recover, okay? But if you lose 10%, it's going to need, you're going to need like at least 15% to recover on the next trade, right? It gets harder and harder. And then what happens if you lose that 15% on the next trade? Now you're down 25%. You see? That does a lot to your mindset, to your thinking, right? It'll put you in a dark place, right? You have just dug yourself a deeper hole to climb out of. So don't do it, right? Just do 1%. The name of the game is to trade large capital, large sums of money, and use small amounts of risk. Does that make sense? So you can trade $10 million if you wanted to, but you're risking just 1%, right? That's $100,000. It's nothing. It's nothing in terms of risk, but $100,000, if you got a 2-hour trade and won that's 200 grand. You see? So that's a lot of money. So the only people that risk like big numbers is because they are trading small accounts. Like you're trying to flip $1,000 account and make $1 million out of $1,000, right? That's crazy. That is just insane. Okay, that's why you're panicking and you're obsessed with the P&L, because you've got too much risk on the line. Just don't do it, right? Risk less. Okay. Now, number 5. Number 5 is that you do not need 10,000 hours, okay? I know it's in the industry, people say, oh, you need 10,000 hours of mastery. Okay, yes and no. Let me explain. You can get away with just 100 hours. You can master, you can get very good at your one setup if you put in 100 hours of backtesting. You see, a lot of traders that claim they have 10,000 hours is 10,000 hours of scattered knowledge and effort. There's a big difference there. It's basically 10,000 hours of shit, of bullshit, okay? You don't need that. You need 100 hours of focused attention on one focused setup. Mastery, that is mastery. You can do 100 hours. If you can stick to 100 hours on one setup, you will go further than the guy that does 10,000 hours on everything, on strategy hop, okay? And I've done 10,000 hours of strategy hop, and I've also done 100 hours of focused 100, like on one focused setup. And I can tell you categorically that 100 hours of focused effort is much more powerful than 10,000 hours of scattered nonsense, okay? So that is going to save you a lot of time, okay? Number 6 is market structure is king. Okay, you don't need fancy indicators. You don't need to learn, you don't even need to learn volume. Okay, volume is good, but you don't even need that. Market structure is king. Okay, like let's say if volume is telling you something and you're looking at volume and it's telling you to go long, right? Well, here's the truth, right? It's going to show in the market structure as well. And voila. So if you can read market structure, you're good. That's all you need. You don't need 10 different indicators on your chart. You don't need a lot of lipstick. You don't need no Batman Joker style charts. You just need market structure. That is it, because the market structure does not lie. It's the most current, prime, like instant indicator. It's the most accurate right there and then. Okay, so learn to read market structure. Start from the weekly, daily, 4 hour, 1 hour, and then 15 minutes for your entry. That's all you need. Yeah, that's that simple. Okay. 7 is a simple rule to remember and live and die by this. Okay, 1 trade per day keeps poverty away. Okay, you only need 1 trade per day. A sniper trade is all you need. Okay, now hear me out, because a lot of you guys have been taking the wrong advice from people that are doing 2, 3, 4 trades a day and are getting nowhere. Okay, or maybe they are, but mostly they're not. Okay, let me explain why. Okay, if you took your 1 trade, that means that you sat down and made a plan pre-market to get into that trade. So that is 1 properly planned out trade that you took. Okay, that's the first thing. Okay, and then if that trade wins and then you decide to take a second trade after that, that's greed. You're now taking another trade that you did not plan for previously, and you're acting out of greed. So now you're not being rational in your trading. And on the flip side, if that 1 trade was to be a loss, and now you try to take another trade to fix it, that is pure ego. Does that make sense? That's revenge trading. So anything more than 1 trade in a day is overtrading in my books, according to me. Okay, you can argue, you can whatever, or you can learn and try it out. Okay, I'm telling you, 1 trade is all you need. 1 good trade per day. Okay, because if you took a loss on that trade and you're not allowed any more trades, you're gonna be forced to sit down and review that trade. See, if you're doing 5 trades in a day and you take 4 losses, at what point did you sit down and actually review the trades that you lost? Probably none, because you're in a panic, you're FOMOing, you're feeling greedy, you're in a revenge trade mood. You're not in a state of mind to even sit down and look at the mistakes that you made or learn from the mistakes that you made. So how are you ever going to get better? Does that make sense? So slow down, and just stick to 1 trade a day. Trust me. Okay? Number 8 is that the trend is your friend. Yeah? So especially from the higher time frame. Okay? So weekly and daily, those are the 2 bigger time frames that you need to pay attention to and figure out what the trend is doing there, right? You don't want to be trading against the trend, right? You don't want to do counter trend trades. You're making things hard for you because you're going against the big money, the institutional order flow, right? So why would you want to do that? Just go with the flow. Wow, how easy is that? Just go with the flow and figure out the trend, and when all of them align, take the trade. You're gonna get a better push, you're gonna go further, and you're gonna get a better trade. Trust me, you're not fighting anything. You don't want to be fighting the market. Go with the market. Okay, so go with the trend. The trend is your friend. Okay, number 9, less is more. Less is more. I literally trade with the naked chart. I don't have any fancy indicators, none of that. Well, I can do, okay, but most of the time I don't. Okay, less is more. If you need to put some indicators, keep it at 1 or 2, okay? And they have to be absolutely important, right? Like say maybe a moving average, okay? That might be a good one to have, okay? But you don't need all of this fancy stuff that, you know, these AI channels keep making new strategies. You have to understand those channels can make a strategy look good for every day of the week for the next 100 years. You see, there are a trillion ways to trade. There are so many strategies and so many indicators that you can go on forever. So cut out that nonsense and strip away all of that nonsense, right? And go to the bare bones and trade naked. Less is more. Literally, less is more. Trust me on this, okay? You will go further. Learn market structure. Like I said, learn to read the charts. If you can read the market for what it is without relying on any other indicator, you're gold. You're good, right? You just got a skill for life. That is what you need to do, okay? So that's number 9. And number 10, don't give up, okay? Because your family, your friends, and even your haters are relying on you to win because they need you, right? You are the warrior. You were chosen for this, to do this. Trading is not for everyone. Understand that. It's not a walk in the park. Most people don't make it through, okay? And you didn't land here by accident. You didn't decide to become a trader and continue for nothing, right? You are chosen by a higher calling. This is your purpose. You were sent here to trade, to make this work, to figure this out, because there's people around you that are relying on you, that are waiting to see you win, okay? Struggling does not mean that you're failing. It means that you're about to level up. That's what frustration and struggle is all about. It means you're about to have a breakthrough, okay? It's just part of your journey, okay? It's not a bad thing. So I've created a course in the link in the description below. It's for leveling up your mindset and your psychology. If that's something you want to do, then go check it out. If you're new to my channel, go ahead, like and subscribe. Drop your comments below. Let me know how your day is going and what you're struggling with within your trading, so maybe I can make a video about that, okay? But until the next video, you're on your own. Take care now. Goodbye.